We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast, episode number 47. Welcome to the We Make Movies podcast, making the world a better place, one film at a time. And now, here are your hosts, otherwise known as the director, the actress, and who the hell is that guy? Chad, Michelle, and Garrett. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast, the podcast that's all about how to get your movie made, how to get it seen by other people, and how to get it awesome. I'm your host, Garrett Robinson. With me, as always, faithful co-host Chad Kukihiko and other faithful co-host Michelle Lucadoo. I tried a new placement of my microphone this week, and it sucks. I am going to need to fix this while while the show is going on. But how was your guys' week?
Excellent. Excellent.
Fabulous.
Excellent.
All around.
And yes, I did hear the music. Okay, good.
We were joking before the show. I was saying, can you hear the music? And Chad said, yes, hit start. So now he's still letting me know that.
Yes, I did hear the music.
Yes, you do hear the music. This is one of the two official
podcasts so far, gentlemen.
This is the best show ever. This is already the best show ever. This is one of the two official podcasts of the We Make Movies filmmaking group in Los Angeles. We come to you every Sunday afternoon and tell you what's been going on. And as always, we begin with community news. Not community news about Community the show, although that's sad, and I know we'll talk about it later. Wah, wah, wah.
How many times has it been canceled, though? I mean, seriously. It's been
that's
from
true.
The dead so many freaking times.
It's like, it's been canceled more than Family Guy, hasn't it?
It is Show of the Living Dead. It will never die. I don't believe it's dead.
But in community news, this Thursday is the deadline for submissions to WMM Fest. We Make Movies mini film festival in the Hollywood Fringe Festival. Go to wemakemovies.org/WMM Fest to submit, and WMMFest.com for more info on the festival. The actual lineup will be decided by June 1st, and I'm sure we'll be announcing it then. Do you want to talk about?
Sure. I left a little bit of a bomb in there because I was hoping you were just gonna keep reading it. It would have been hilarious.
Oh, really?
Because it was
okay.
Because I wrote this next bit as if it was me, and I wanted to see if Garrett would just go ahead and read it.
That would have been funny.
Well. Yeah, it would have been funnier if you'd read it. Anyway, We Make Movies' most recent sketch shoot happened yesterday. It was a lot of fun, in my humble opinion. We shot an improv bit titled Speed Faithing, which was directed by Christopher Frederick. Jeff Bowers, Pappy and Slappy, which I had the honor of directing. Patrick Duncan's Misery Date, directed by Sam Messman, and Laura Menino's Top Divorced Chef, which Garrett Robinson directed, I believe. It was a lot of fun.
Yes,
I didn't
it was quite fun.
Excellent. I did not witness the Top Divorced Chef part, but I'm sure you guys had a lot of fun. I cannot wait to show you guys the insane hilariousness of these sort of sexual puppets that are Pappy and Slappy, and I'm sure Garrett feels the same way about Top Divorce Chef. So as always, keep your eye on our channel. It's getting a lot of fun, and in fact, WMM Originals is only, as of like a couple hours ago, 36 subscribers away from 2,000 subscribers, which means that we are really, really close to getting to releasing, because at 2,000, I've been promising for weeks and weeks now that as soon as we hit 2,000 subscribers on WMM Originals, I will release a bunch of outtakes of our Scott Greenberg commercial shoot from a couple months ago. And there's some really, really hilariously offensive stuff. Jeff Bowers just kind of riffing, and we captured it all. So I can't wait to release. So just get you and 35 of your friends and neighbors to subscribe, and
or 35 of your, alias email addresses.
Exactly. Anyway, get those subscribers to 2,000, and you will be witness to the offensive magnificence that is these outtakes.
And at 4,000, I will be doing the Cinnamon Challenge. I believe I've promised.
Oh, is that right? Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. I can't wait.
Well, I feel that I should maybe do something at 3,000.
Or 6.
Or 6, or whatever.
6. Or whatever. What do you want?
We should do something every 1,000.
Yeah, I feel like maybe 3,000. I should do some kind of interpretive dance story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So excellent. That's good news. Well, the last bit of news about the channel is that a bunch of our Slate 2 films are starting to near the end of their festival runs, which means that we're going to be posting them on WMM Originals. So stay tuned for that. I already have Lona Koning, which is Keith Stevenson's piece, directed by M. Keegan Yule. That's lined up. And then Sam Zwiebelman's The Rwanda Blend, which was starring.
Amazing.
It's amazing. It's a fantastic film. And that also is going to be hitting our channel very, very soon. So if you're not already subscribed to our newsletter, subscribe to that. Subscribe to our YouTube page, and this stuff will all come to you very, very, very soon.
And for anybody who doesn't know what Slate 2 is, that is an event that We Make Movies has done twice in the past, where we do fundraising, like basically an Indiegogo thing, right? And then a script competition, and the scripts that win the community voting or what have you are funded by the money that the whole community raised. It's a really, really awesome thing. And these films, I actually haven't seen Lona Koning. But the Rwanda Blend is unfreaking believable. So anyway,
yeah.
You should be excited, damn it.
Yeah, the Slate 1 films, actually Rwanda Blend, believe it or not, came from Slate 1, but because it took Zwiebelman so long, he wanted to do a bunch of pickups. It's really worth the extra time that it took. I mean, I wish I had slowed down my Slate 1 film a bit and added some more pre-production to it. I think it would have been a much better film if I'd given it a little bit more pre-production time. But his film, like, he didn't, Sam Zwiebelman, he did not. Anyway, it's fantastic. You got to see it. And it will be on our YouTube channel soon. So there you have it.
I have an ability in Google Hangouts. It swaps the video feed just by whoever's talking at the time. But I can also control it manually, and I kind of want to leave it on Michelle for the entire show. I don't know what you guys did in terms of setting her up in that office, but it looks so much better than it has looked in the past.
She just did it. She just did it while we were waiting for you.
I took a
Thank
shot.
you.
Writing.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, because that was it wasn't always super flattering. All right, so let's move into.
Did Garrett just call me fat on the air?
Nope,
Totally
the camera.
Did. Chad,
I'm sorry. You could take Natalie friggin' Portman.
Ugly and fat.
You could take Natalie Portman and shove a camera lens up her nose. Not a flattering angle. Sorry, she's one of the most beautiful women on the whole planet. Just not a flattering angle. Much like yourself. See how I tried to say that there? All right. So we'll move into general news items. I am up first. I have a geek update. So new videos keep coming out for X-Men Days of Future Past, and from everything I've seen so far, this is shaping up to be like a really, really epic. Sorry, I almost cracked up at the chat thing because I'm 12 years old. Anyway. So what was I saying? Yes. So this is going to be really fast. This is gonna be really, really epically awesome. The new video is a featurette on Quicksilver. If you're not a comic book geek, he's a super fast mutant who's actually the son of Magneto, at least in the comics. I don't know. I hope they're doing that in the movies. But they're really going all out on Days of Future Past. And to be honest, it's making me wonder what could follow it, because X-Men First Class. That was almost a reboot without actually being a reboot, like going back to young Professor X and young Magneto. And now they're combining that past timeline with the future timeline with old Professor X and Magneto, and it's all kind of getting jumbled up. And it's hard to imagine something being more epic than that from a geek's perspective. And maybe they'll manage to pull something out, but who knows? But that, for the first time, made me think of a broader question, which is, how long do we honestly think that the Marvel movie universe can last? Because, I don't think it can necessarily last forever unless they keep rebooting it, which, I think would lose its effectiveness after a while. Maybe. I don't know. Do you think this will just keep rolling on and on and on forever?
Well, my question is this the same? This is not under Kevin Feige, I assume. I don't think.
I don't know who that is.
Kevin Feige is the guy who's in charge of the entire Avengers version, that.
Right. No, this is not that.
Totally different. That guy, as far as if you think about it, they can do as much or as little as they want, because the comic book, the volume of stories that are available. If they're smart, they can do that. The problem is that except for Kevin Feige, I have not seen anybody be able to pull it off with any sort of what's the word? Competency.
Are you talking about the
I mean?
interconnectedness, not being able to pull off the connection?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yes. Because I mean, you can do whatever you want, but it could end up turning into turds. You could end up turning into Highlander 5. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whether or not they're really going to want to try to compete and stay in sort of the Kevin Feige world, that dude's a genius. The guy is amazing. He picks the right people to do the right pieces, and he puts them together in such a way that, I mean, I don't know if the filmmaking world has ever seen somebody that amazing as far as I'm
right, but this is not.
This is not in that world. That's my point. Is that I think that they can hack their way through as much or as little as they want. As an admitted fanboy of the X-Men world, much more, by the way, than the Avenger world. I was much more into X-Men as a child than I ever was into the Avengers. But I was
way more into Spider-Man, but that doesn't mean the movies aren't pieces of shit.
I enjoyed them. Did you see it? I thought you were gonna. You didn't. Did you see the second yet?
I haven't seen the second one, but somebody was like, dude, it's so good. It's so. I had a couple conversations recently, glowing recommendations of the film that completely turned me off.
That's hilarious.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It might be better than like the first Iron Man. I was like, really? And they were like, yeah, it's like almost as good as the first Amazing Spider-Man.
Well, I mean, the problem is
the
problem is that like there's good filmmaking. And then I hate to say it, but to a certain degree, there's also good comic book filmmaking. And I think that there's a certain level of loyalty that you have to give. And I think that Days of Future Past as a film is a great movie, but they just messed with the universe way too much, in my opinion. And as it you know what I mean? And it was just like, what is this, Angel? What? This makes no sense. It made no sense. It just kind of like was like F you to the fanboys. And it was just like, I know I don't want to spend.
You mean in the comics? Are you talking about the comics or the movie?
I'm talking about the comic books.
Okay, yeah.
The fans of the comic books got screwed over by X-Men First Class, in my opinion.
By X-Men First Class?
Yes.
More so than the other X-Men movies?
Though they were all kind of a waste, in my opinion. But even more so, yes, even more so.
Wow.
The film is better.
I would not say that at all.
The film is better.
A little bit.
Well, not how even could you possibly say that? Cyclops was
Jean Grey kills Cyclops?
What are you
and Professor X in the X-Men 3? Sabretooth? No,
whatever. But the origin story, they don't have enough time. They haven't had enough time to screw it up as much. No, the third one was a mess. Don't get me wrong. But the X-Men First Class, like if you're going to tell an origin story, you don't leave out and just completely swap different characters. You don't put in, you put in Cyclops. You don't put in his brother. You put in the real Angel. You don't put in some super obscure Angel character from deep. You know what I'm saying? That's my point.
Okay.
No, I get that.
Problem. Yeah, okay, here's the problem, like from a non-geek perspective. I don't care as long as they blow shit up and, everything ends up happy in the end. I really don't care. There's cool special effects, bust a move. But really, how much loyalty does a filmmaker have to fans of comic books? I mean, like, if I'm going to make a film, based on a comic book, then I, as a filmmaker, would think that I get to pick what happens. But there's apparently there's huge backlash from comic book readers. I mean, where's the line? Because there
always will be the backlash, but it's a matter of balance. You have to have you can't completely sacrifice because like Watchmen, for instance, that guy was like too loyal to the comic book fans, in my opinion, and he didn't make a movie. He made it should have been a miniseries. I think as a miniseries it would have been fantastic. But
there's on both sides of the thing. Like there was backlash against Peter Jackson for Lord of the Rings, and it's one of the most faithful book to film adaptations of all time, and it was tremendously successful. There was backlash against Stephen King for The Shining, against Kubrick for The Shining, which is not. I mean, it's somewhat faithful to the book, but it's definitely Kubrick's Shining as opposed to.
The book is the movie's amazing.
Right, exactly.
Like he made
that's a change that was also successful. That is a changing the book to make it a very, very successful film.
Yeah.
Then there are people who are like Watchmen, totally true to the book, but it doesn't wind up with a very good film. And then there are people who deviate from the book, and that is the most dangerous zone, where you deviate from the book and come out with a crappy movie, and that is just like the worst. That's when you're like
Daredevil.
That's when you're dead.
Oh god.
Yes.
But I mean, like, the fact of the matter is, like, at the box office, when you're making things like Spider-Man and when you're making things like The Shining, or I mean, like, the geek-tastic backlash, does that even make a difference of all the millions of people that are actually seeing it? Like, Joe Schmo me, who hasn't read the comic book, is like, ooh, hot boys in capes, blowing shit up. Yay!
I'll tell you why it does. I'll tell you why it does. When you already have an established brand that already has fans, you can't just say F you to the whole. You're always going to have some backlash, no matter what. There's going to be some people that are like, it's not true enough, and there's going to be people that are like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's always going to be the case. As far as I'm concerned, no matter what you do in art, in my humble opinion, you need to ride that Lennon and McCartney balance. You need to be able to push it just enough to be exciting and interesting and not, staid. And then you also at the same time have to kind of make it hooky. You have to give it some of that commercial hook and feel to it. That's my point, and the same and that's the same thing with this, is that I think that I was never an enormous fan of the Avengers, not the comic books. I wasn't, but the way that Kevin Feige has put this whole thing together is so unbelievable. It's so smart, and I know there's a lot of filmmakers, hardcore filmmakers, that are out there like, it's not, it's not film, whatever. You probably weren't a comic book freak to begin with, or if you're one of the, I don't know. I'm sure that there are some people that hate it and were comic book geeks. But for people like me that were dying for movies like this when I was a kid, reading these comic books, this is like, it's gold. But at the same time, I can tell what elements of it are not good filmmaking per se, but I think that what they're doing, anyway, I think we're spending way too much time on this.
We definitely are.
Yeah, I mean, like, wow, you guys, like, totally geeked out and stuff.
That's what we do, we're the film geeks. All right, Michelle, let's hear your first segment.
Bring it back to reality. I actually have a pretty practical news item. The Screen Actors Guild is now accepting short film submissions and web series from all states west of the Mississippi for its August 2013 short film showcase. 2014. Submissions need to be postmarked by Monday, June 3rd, and then all entries postmarked after that date will be placed in contention for the Foundation's event. So there's no entry fee, and there's no cost to attend the screening, but it does need to be like a SAG short film or SAG AFTRA new media contract for consideration.
Are they accepting comic book adaptation short films? Because I could produce a Spider-Man, but then see, we're talking about. No, sorry, I didn't mean.
Only if it's loyal to it.
See, bring it back to the thing we already talked about too long. That's really awesome.
Hey,
Michelle, do you wanna?
Funny, full circle, nice work.
We should make a We Make Movies Film Geeks short film and submit it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm probably gonna submit Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning's a SAG film.
Well,
for those of you who are currently listening, if you would like to fund our We Make Movies short, Garrett will be wearing a Spider-Man costume that is handmade.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's really awesome. We should we should talk after the show. Maybe that'll be a thing that we can do.
Is there any are there a bunch of screenings? I mean, I'm curious. Is it just one event? Did they say? Was it you know what I'm saying? Like, are there 10 people that are going to win, or are there 50? You know what
I think there are numerous winners in different categories.
I see. Okay. All right. I'll have to check it out. Hopefully we can get a link to that in our notes. Yes.
On it.
All right.
Incidentally, if you are listening and you have any comments or questions, you can comment and ask us things and tell us things.
Yes.
Tell me how pretty I look, like after Garrett being fat and ugly.
Or me, how pretty I look. I was really pretty.
Chad was very pretty yesterday in that photo on the shelf.
Oh my goodness. That's we can't even.
Chad's turn.
Not enough time. Okay, so Thrillist. If you live in Los Angeles, Thrillist just did something really, really, really cool by putting out a calendar with all of the summer outdoor movie screenings in the Los Angeles area. The films are
What?
screening, yeah, it's tight. The films are screening all over Los Angeles, Hollywood, Forever Cemetery, which is where Cinespia always has their amazing outdoor screenings, Pershing Square in downtown Los Angeles, Pan Pacific Park, the Greek Amphitheater, Santa Monica High School. There's a bunch of them. It's an amazing list, and if you are living in Los Angeles and you want to, enjoy yourself and watch the movies under the stars, you need to know where this is. So just go to Thrill List. Cinespia has always been one of my favorite things to do each summer, though it can be a bit of a time commitment. Although that time commitment is kind of part of the fun. I mean, because you have to basically, if you've never been to Cinespia, you have to basically go like hours ahead of time, and the line is basically on this lawn, and it's thick, so you can lay out a blanket and have a picnic. And so that's what you do. You get a bunch of friends and you get some wine and cheese, and you go and you have a picnic in line, and then you go in and watch the movie under the stars. I am thinking about taking this Thrill List calendar, which you can, by the way, go to thrillist.com and then hit Los Angeles and to find this calendar.
Or just Google Thrill List calendar. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay,
it is
good.
Freaking epic.
Yeah, it's nice. And there's like Pershing Square. I really want to check out some of the ones down in Pershing Square. They're doing all of the whole Avenger series down there. We've already missed a couple of them. See there?
I want that. I want to go to there.
Garrett's other hand.
Yes, it's an awesome calendar. It's an awesome calendar. If you don't live in Los Angeles, I apologize because you obviously cannot partake. But if you do live in Los Angeles, check it out.
You know what's interesting? I always thought it was Cinespia. I went to see last summer Terminator at the Hollywood Cemetery, and it was awesome because it's like great also to see in LA, to see film with people that do film. Like the entire lawn was like quoting the movie together and like laughing and clapping, and like it was awesome.
Yeah, it's so much fun. It's fun. Going to the bathroom there is the least fun. If you can somehow strap on a catheter, I think you'll be golden.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about getting like a colostomy bag installed.
Just for summer movies.
Just for, I think there are a lot of places that...
hey, we're all dedicated movie people here. There's nothing...
I never want to get up. I just want to see the movie straight through.
All right, I'll jump into my next...
Didn't know about, Chad.
I'll jump into my next bit. So I talked about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Last week. ABC has now doubled down on the show. They renewed it for another season and ordered a completely new spin-off show called Agent Carter, Marvel's Agent Carter, which is epic. Agent Carter is the female agent in the first Captain America movie who's like in love with him and then gets left behind when he gets frozen in the ice and whatever.
Oh.
So I guess it's like a period piece.
Oh,
agent?
cool.
I don't know, because she's from World War II. Yeah. Anyway, so this is awesome for many reasons. One of the most important reasons is that there have not been women in central roles in the Marvel universe. There just haven't. It's all sausage all the time. So this is a step in the right direction for that. Second, this is a spin-off after one season, which is like highly unusual. Normally shows have to be massively successful for multiple seasons before there's even discussion of a spin-off. But when I was thinking about it, I realized that it's not really a spin-off of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Marvel's Agent Carter are both spin-offs of the movie universe. Like that's what's actually going on when you really think about it. And that is not slowing down at all. But other shows, Breaking Bad didn't get a spinoff until it was in its last season. Cheers got Frasier, after Cheers was already done, and even Joey, that really, really crappy spinoff from Friends. It's like those were spinoffs off of hugely successful shows after they were nearly done, and now we're getting another one. It's really, really cool. Is my point.
Is it cool?
It's very cool. I'm very excited.
I'm looking at some photos from it right now. It does look like a period piece, which I am excited to see.
So they've already started shooting.
I think I know what photos you're talking about, and I'm pretty sure those are from Captain America.
Yeah.
I don't know. They might not be. Sure. I don't know. They might be.
I don't know, because they only ordered that show like this week, so it would be very fast if they were already filming.
Well,
and
unless
had
they
screenshots
ordered
of
it based on the pilot that was already shot.
No.
No?
Not if they. No. Not if. No. I would have heard. Anyway, but the another reason this is cool is that this combined with the Netflix shows. Everybody remember that?
Oh,
Yeah?
right. When are those supposed to come out? That's
I don't
that's
know,
my jam
but-
right there.
Yeah,
My jam,
seriously.
Daredevil. What?
So anyway, Marvel is doing all of this stuff. It is like their universe is already super mainstream, and it's going to go even more mainstream. They are growing towards having as many visual storylines going in terms of TV and movies as they have comic book storylines. I mean, maybe not that many because that's like hundreds, but like there is going to be so much Marvel out there that people can just do that. And you'll have Marvel geeks who don't even read the comic books. Just like nowadays you have video game geeks where all they play is Call of Duty, but they're still like video gamers. And you've got, there are people who are huge Lord of the Rings fans who only saw the movies because they just like can't get through a book that thick. So anyway, it's pretty cool if you're a Marvel geek and you can be like a little bit like OG and bring like the TV ones under your wing and be like, oh, I'm so glad you like the show. Let me explain to you why this is so much more awesome than you even realize.
That's how I think of when people talk about Game of Thrones. That's exactly how I feel. I'm like, oh, that's cute. Oh, you've watched the show. Oh, so cute.
That's an excellent segue, but I do have to say that I knew nothing about Green Arrow, but I did start watching Arrow last season on CW, largely because my friend Colin was in it, who got killed off. Very sad. But
How's the show?
I kept watching it. It's CW.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I can't stop watching somehow.
My wife can't stop watching the Vampire Diaries, even though every single episode she's like, "This is the worst show I've ever seen."
I don't understand that phenomenon. I do not understand that phenomenon.
I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, what's his bud who plays the lead is shirtless like every other episode. But it's like they're kicking it up. They're like killing off some main characters, like pretty much like every other episode. So it's interesting. And I knew nothing about Green Arrow before, and I'm okay, fine. But speaking of Game of Thrones, okay, this is one of the few things I geek out about is Game of Thrones.
That's adorable.
You're so cute.
I sensed some condescension in your voice there.
No.
No. Hey.
Fine, whatever.
You've read the book, then. You've read the books.
Yes.
Have you really?
I have, actually.
Oh, okay.
No way.
No way, Michelle Reed. In fact, she has a degree in it. Whatever. There's a writing. There is a. Are we done?
Yes, we're done mocking you.
Pop-up book that I'm very excited about, and it's really genius. And apparently, this is not news. It came out March 25th. But there's a YouTube video of the pop-up book of Westeros that is like amazing. Like, it's got all of these like pull tabs and like it's not just a pop-up book that it like is page by page. The entire book folds out into this like three-dimensional like amazingness.
Like $400? How much is this thing?
$65, in fact. What? And it's got like it folds out. It's got like the you can pull out the Unsullied, and then you can go like to the I don't know. It's very cool. It is very cool. So I don't know. I used to have some really awesome fans in New York who used to do some very nice things for me and send things to the stage door. So if any of you are listening, I really like that book.
I'm looking at it right now. Oh my God.
It's stupid.
It's stupid amazing.
I want one. How's it only $65?
$65.
Wow. Okay. So, hey, guess who's got a birthday coming up next month?
Wow.
Anyway.
I want one. Anyway, I'm going to continue moving on. I don't have anything to add to that. That's really cool.
Do it.
So there was quite a lot of bloodletting this week out in the TV world. A lot of networks released lists of shows they were canceling, along with lists of shows that they were renewing. Community was canceled again, as we mentioned earlier in the show. I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it actually not come back on the TV show. TV machine. Anyway, Community was canceled again. Trophy Wives, which you may or may not have seen, but had a really, really amazing cast. It was really funny. My friend Mickey was on the show, and with Marcia Gay Harden. I mean, crazy.
Trophy Wife.
Trophy Wife, sorry. Trophy Wife. But there were like 3 wives. I always call it
Trophy Wife got canceled?
Trophy Wife got canceled, yeah. Sucks. It was really funny too. Anyway, Betrayal was canceled. Revolution was canceled. There's a lot of shows were canceled this week. You can go to like TV Guide and check out since I think February they've been posting like an ongoing post of all the shows that were canceled. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., as we discussed, was also renewed. New Girl renewed. Parks and Rec was renewed. And I don't know if you've been watching Parks and Rec, but there was a really weird twist in the last episode. So the next season is going to start off really weird. I do not want to give you any spoilers. Brooklyn Nine-Nine was of course renewed. I was kind of struck a little bit by the number of shows that were canceled. It didn't dawn on me what you were saying earlier, Garrett, about the fact that there was that it was so early on that this spinoff. But you're right. You're absolutely right. I think it's not a spinoff of the TV show as much as it's a spinoff of the series of movies. And again, Kevin Feige kicking ass, as he's kind of the reason why, in my opinion, that shit's all happening. Anyway, I would like to see a sort of more comprehensive list of shows canceled and kept over multiples of years, because I'm curious if there's sort of a trend. I'm curious if network shows are kind of becoming overall sort of a thing of the past in a sense. I don't know. I'm curious. Obviously, the time is there, but I'm wondering if cable and internet is really starting to take over as much as I think they might be. I mean, like Deadbeat. I don't know if you guys have seen that on
cute.
Hulu.
I love it.
Yeah, it was a fun show, and the guy was hilarious. I think he's hilarious, but production values are awful. You know what I mean? I mean, compared to what is available to people nowadays. I mean, it's really so. I'm curious how much each episode cost, and it just seems to me. And Moon Boy apparently is a similar sort of situation. It's just, I don't know. I think that maybe
that's one thing that I've noticed in Hulu original series in particular is they think that because they're Hulu and they're creating original content, and that they can kind of cut corners. I don't know. Just me personally, I do not have a comprehensive study of this.
I don't know if that's what it's happening per se, or if
Deadbeat was spending their entire budget on Cat Deeley, I'm sure.
Who's that?
All I'm saying is that Netflix was like, no, we're going to give you House of Cards, and it's going to be better than most television shows, almost all television shows. And whenever I see a Hulu original series, I'm always kind of like,
But they don't compare money-wise. Netflix has so much more money than Hulu has. I mean,
which does make sense since Hulu advertises to us all the fracking time. It's very annoying.
But they're also aren't they still kind of partially owned by a lot of the network partners and stuff? And I know Mark Cuban. I don't know. Anyway, it's my point is that I'm curious if the time for independent shows is really, I mean, that's why, for instance, I think that Deadbeat might be sort of an independent show. Like, I'm curious if some of these shows got their money from like venture capitalists, etc., and maybe finished the series before they sold, or if they did like really low budget things. Because I know how little money. Sort of. I don't know exactly to the dollar, but Battleground, the first sort of Hulu show, because what's his name? What was it? JR. I can't remember his name right now, but the guy who created that show, created Battleground, Hulu's first sort of series. He was one of our early How We Make Movies guests, and he kind of described a lot of that process. And it just sounds like that people are going to them and saying, hey, this is how little it'll cost you to buy this. And they're like, all right, or they're not. You know what I mean? So it's not that their model is necessarily even based on what's going on TV. They don't, I mean, it just can't be. So anyway, my point is I'd be interested to see what's going to happen. I think for, independent filmmakers, maybe independent television shows is where we start to put our attention.
Yeah. I mean, I think we should. I think that I think that these Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, if they ever get off their ass, they would be a great avenue. They don't need, they don't need as big of a budget as TV does to create the stuff that TV does, but they can't. I don't know. I don't think they can schlock it either, and I don't think we can schlock it. If we do want to push forward and take over with independent shows and independent programming.
It's not a point about schlocking it or not schlocking it. It's a point of getting it done with the resources that you have. Amazon is doing
right,
this.
but what we're talking about is like doing a takeover. Like it moves the focus towards independent programming that you can get streaming as opposed to cable. I'm saying I don't think that's ever going to happen if more shows like Deadbeat are produced. If more and more people start doing things like House of Cards and like even those British shows that they've got like Misfits and everything like that, even things like that, it could happen. But it's never going to happen as long as the new stuff that is being brought to us. Like Deadbeat is the most freaking promoted thing on Hulu right now. I'm watching, like, everything I watch has 3 freaking Deadbeat commercials, and I'm like, it's not that good. And I don't want to watch it. Stop! Like, you're not going to enact a takeover with that. You know what I mean? I think.
No, I don't know what you mean by enact a takeover.
I don't think that if TV.
Let me tell you what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is providing opportunities for other independent filmmakers. If independent filmmakers, I'm not talking so much about the networks themselves. I'm talking about independent filmmakers. If we say, you know what, I'm not going to make an independent movie this time. This time I'm going to make 6 episodes instead of a show. It's one sort of complete story. Let me see what happens. I get the money from capital, from investors. I bang it out. I just do it. I don't even have a place to sell it yet. But I have it done, and then I go to these guys afterwards and be like, hey, this is how much this costs. What do you want? What do you think?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That's my point.
That is running rampant. I mean, that's happened. So I've shot 2 unsold pilots this year. People are doing it all the time.
Oh, for sure. No, I'm not saying. I think about it more broad. Like I don't know. I've kind of always just had the thing of like yeah, make what you want to make and then figure out a way to market it. But in terms of, I mean, you were talking about all of the shows that got canceled and whether that means that streaming and everything like that. I see it more broadly. Like I see it broadly in terms of if you're going to do that, just make sure that it's that you do the most with the resources that you have, because that's a value that we should strive for. Yeah, see what I did there?
Nice.
Of course, I'm not saying make a turd. I'm just saying that you don't necessarily, like, my point is that I enjoyed the story for Deadbeat. I know you didn't. You don't. I don't know if you've even watched it, but I watched the whole thing.
I thought it was adorable. I watched probably like 7 episodes.
I've seen them all. I saw all the episodes and I enjoyed it. And
I didn't keep watching after the first one.
Well, the production values are not that good, but I think the guy's very funny, and I'm curious how much they got it done for. You know, not that people should work for nothing. That's not my point. My point is that what I see, the world I see, and I don't think I'm coming out of nowhere with this, is that in the future, more than anything else, more than any other time in the past, the filmmakers themselves are going to be stakeholders. So everybody's going to work for nothing up front, or very, very little up front, but everybody who does that is going to have a stake. And so if the show does well, if they can get it done, just get it done as well as they can, then I think that if it then does well, then they'll start to get the resources to do it more and more. I think that this is a trend that we need to start focusing on as filmmakers. And even if the infrastructure is not necessarily set right now for this model, I think that in a couple 3 years it will be. You know, like we just did a sound mix for Tuesday morning, and I'm very proud of Tuesday morning. But I also know all of the flaws of it. Bless you, Michelle. I see every single flaw when I watch it. I hear all the flaws. I hear all this. But when I think about how much money we were able to get it done with, I'm like, for the amount of money that we could get to do this, this is fantastic. I'm very, very proud of this. That's my point. Like, I don't think that we need to be, well, no, it has to be good. It has to be, yes, it has to be good, of course.
No, Chad, you're arguing something that I'm not saying, and I'm completely agreeing with you. You made a point early for us. Everything that you're saying is totally correct. The only thing I was speaking to was what you were saying earlier was sort of a move towards streaming and away from cable. And that was the only thing that I was speaking to. I think that you're absolutely correct. I think that we should continue to go out and make whatever we can make, however we can make it, and see who will pick it up for distribution. Completely, 100% agree on that. And that's
I don't see the difference
everything
between what you're
doing.
I don't see the difference between.
I'm saying we're not even talking about the same industries. You made a point earlier about just a brief throwaway point about Netflix and Hulu taking larger shares of the viewership and whatever, and that industry versus that industry, and then you went on to talk about us as independent artists and how we can take our stuff and get it out there in the world and everything like that. And everything that you said about us is completely correct. And when I said what I said, I was just saying that people like I don't think streaming is going. I don't think the streaming industry, which we are completely not a part of, I don't think it's going to take over the cable industry with shows like that, like Deadbeat. But it will if they keep producing shows like House of Cards. All I was saying, not arguing your point about us and how we're distributing. You see what I'm saying?
I see the misunderstanding, but I think that I don't want to spend any more time on this because yeah.
Well, there's the streaming industry, which is not us.
But
and
then the streaming industry, you mean the Hulu and Netflix of the moment,
right? Exactly. I think that Hulu and Netflix and original programming and Amazon's original programming, including what's it called, Alpha House or whatever it is, like that's the one show that what's it called?
Look at Michelle's like.
Michelle doesn't like this. I think
people
that
who are listening to this and not watching it, Michelle's making like Michelle is choking herself with her headphone.
She's wrapped herself up with her headphone cord. But I think that I think that they could take over. I think it would be a good thing. I think it would open up the door to more creators. I think that it's better for the consumer. I think all of those things.
Yes.
All I was saying was that they're not going to is that Hulu does not seem to be taking the right steps to do that. The only person who is, in my opinion, is Netflix.
I got that.
Hulu.
Nothing to do with that industry.
Shout out to the fabulous Alicia Sable in Alpha House, who did a little Broadway show with me. She's kind of amazing. If you guys are watching Alpha House. All right. So, shall we?
Yeah, let's skip on into the main topics. So I have the first main topic. I am going to VidCon this year, which I'm very excited about. I basically had a friend who had an extra ticket that he just gave me, so I get to go. Totally awesome. Yay. Neener. For anybody who doesn't know, VidCon is pretty much the premier convention for online video creators and audiences, founded by Hank Green, one of the Vlog brothers. 4 years ago is when he started it, and it attracts like pretty much the biggest online video stars in the world. Many of them YouTubers, actually, interestingly, some of them not. But this year's guest lineup is crazy. Aside from the Vlog brothers, they're going to have Freddie Wong, Felicia Day, Tyler Oakley, like all of these huge YouTube stars. Chad, wasn't it you that was talking recently about them promoting like their individual creators, like YouTube's doing this whole promotion kick where they're promoting.
Yeah, you're starting to see these ads now, especially on Hulu a lot right now. I'm seeing tons of ads, and I'd also heard anecdotally from somebody that YouTube was actually making this. I mean, it's kind of obvious when you see all these ads, but yeah, they're starting to promote their individual kind of stars. I saw an ad for Michelle Phan, whom I have heard of, and then other ads of other people whom I've never ever heard of. One girl, she's got like 5.6 million subscribers, so she's huge in a very specific demographic, but I've never heard of her. But yeah, that's an interesting move, yeah.
Well, they're obviously pushing that a lot, but and a lot of these people are going to be at the thing. It is not a YouTube is a sponsor of the VidCon, but it's not YouTube's convention. if that difference makes sense. Like it's just a thing that Hank Green started and everything like that. But this is going to be the second professional event that I've attended this year. The first one was the LA Times Festival of Books in LA, which is not really like a convention so much as just like walking around and meeting a bunch of other independent artists and seeing books and you know, traditional publishers as well and all that sort of thing. But what I really, really enjoyed from the festival, and I think I'll enjoy even more at VidCon, is just being there and meeting people who are also professionals in the field and like seeing what they're into and seeing what they're doing and just kind of like soaking up the ideas. Even though the festival wasn't like a convention, so to speak, I didn't go to like seminars or panel discussions or anything like that. But just from conversations with self-publishers and independent comic book artists and everything like that, I came up with 2 brand new story ideas, not plagiarized. I'm not just taking their ideas, but like something sparked and I came up with ideas for 2 new books. So that's like awesome. And this time I'll be meeting people who are making, you know, very good livings as video creators, which, you know, I am and we all are, and the whole group is doing that all the time now. I feel like,
for those of you who like don't know, Garrett is a fairly accomplished writer. You can check him out, Garrett B. Robinson. He has a lot of different books on Amazon.
Thank you, Michelle. I will mail your check
welcome.
to you. You have to give me your address.
My turn.
Now that I'm all flustered. But anyway, I feel like a lot of people, when they're just starting out with writing and video, conferences can seem a little overwhelming, and definitely like can seem expensive, and like, is it worth it? Should I do it? Honestly, and again, you know, I'm not some 80-year-old veteran telling you like the lowdown, but like in my experience, no, these kind of things wouldn't necessarily be so valuable right at the beginning of your career when you're really early on and you don't really know what the scene is. It's like there's you know, getting out there and getting experience and learning what you're doing so that you have something to contribute to the environment, and also so that when you do get advice and you hear what other people are doing, you have experience to compare it to so that you can actually learn. And until that happens, you won't even understand most of what's going on. So like, yeah, maybe like you're getting a handle on what you're doing, definitely start going to these things, because it's cool hanging out with other professionals. I mean, that's what We Make Movies is. That's all of us, you know, being pros and hanging around and working on what we're working on. But I mean, Chad, how many times have you and I said that like the We Make Movies workshops are awesome, but almost more valuable is the hangout time afterwards with, you know, when we're all just sitting around and talking about what we're doing and discussing ideas. It's like its own personal little mastermind, you know. Anyway, that was all I wanted to say. Was maybe a recommendation to other people out there. I think we've got a time delay now on the video chat.
I don't think he can.
Yes, I can totally hear you. There's
okay.
I can hear you. I can
okay, good.
Absolutely hear you.
I think that's sort of true about no matter what industry you're trying to get into, you need to immerse yourself in it, because that's something you hear from, and that's, now there's, I think, some danger that one should always be aware of, no matter what like con you go to or no matter what you do, honestly, in anything, is there's always, you know, for instance, this week I heard from an actress in our group that there was a creeper who had tried to, you know, get her into a situation that was really compromising and bizarre. And there's all kinds of situations. And back when I was a young, fit man in this town, I had a similar situation here as well. And it's just...
You're not 50.
No, but I'm not, you know, I am much heavier than I was back when this situation happened. I was in a production of Hair. Anyway, my point is that you have to know who the people are you need to pay attention to, and who
Totally.
have actual wisdom to share with you. And then you have to be careful of the people that are like hangers on and vampires. I mean, I hate to use that word, but it's true. They exist in every art, and they're not
They are.
there.
They're out there. They sparkle in the sun. It's terrible.
And it's not a huge percentage. It's a small percentage, but I speak from experience. I had basic. I'm exaggerating a tiny bit here, but in essence, I had like almost 10 years of my life wasted because I got sort of connected to one of these guys, and it was awful. It was an awful, awful situation, and he was one of those people, and I was very, when our relationship, not sexual, but we were like, but our business relationship began. It was, I was
The
very
layers of explanation. I mean, sorry.
well. It's one of these days. I'll write the story, but it is fascinating. I mean, it's one of these days. Get me really drunk, and I'll describe it to you. But I swear to God, 10 years, and much of that was fighting a legal battle that had been, it's so. Anyway, that's my point. Is that yes, absolutely go to these things. Go to everything. Go to as much as you can.
Yeah.
Meet people. Make plans with people, but look out for these guys.
Yeah.
And another piece of advice that I oh great, now so obviously clearly I apologize to the audience, I'm on a delay because Chad and Michelle are hearing me very late, so that's why we're kind of stumbling all over each other. It's not because we're unprofessional, it's just because of Google and their damn free service that they provide. But anyway, the one other piece of advice that I wrote down and wanted to stress before we moved on is also not to like sound cheesy, but knowing who you are and knowing what you're offering, because even if just what you are is I am a video editor or I am a director or I am a screenwriter or whatever, that's cool. But like we always talk about, the more specialized you are, the less people might, the less a number of people might want you, but the people that will want you even more. For example, my thing when I'm going into VidCon is going to be I'm an expert vlogger on the subject of self-publishing, because that is what I tend to talk about on my vlog a lot, because a lot of my vlog viewers are my readers. And there's a lot of writers who, do vlogs and they write their own scripts and and they have aspirations of writing screenplays or books or novels or whatever the hell. So by saying I am an expert publishing, boom, somebody knows exactly what I'm at. And if they don't, if they don't need that, then it's like, oh, okay, cool. But if they do, then that's really something. So if you do start going out to these things, be very definite about what you are and what you're really, really good at and have to offer, because that's important for building relationships.
Sure.
That was the other thing that I wanted to, yeah.
And as a dear friend of mine, Sung, told me, nothing good happens after midnight. So go, but whatever. So, okay, my turn. I am so beyond excited. I want to know your thoughts on this my main topic. It's about my two favorite things in the entire world: horror and musicals combined.
Awesome.
Obviously,
Horror musical?
Stage Fright. When? It was just released. Okay, I got to tell you, I thought it was going to be the next cult classic. Starts out amazing musical number. It's a these guys that go to a sleepaway camp, and there's like Meatloaf is the sleepaway camp guy that runs it, and the opening musical number, Minnie Driver's the mom, and she gets stabbed in the mouth, and like campers sing things like, those school bullies sound awful bad, what school bullies, that was my dad. You know what I mean? It's everything. Unfortunately, for the first 15 minutes.
Oh, no.
So I'm going to agree with, like, IndieWire said the same thing. I do agree. It lost its steam. It was amazing. It was great. It was awesome for, like, 15 minutes. Which begs the question, here's the question that I pose. Can there be an exceptional horror musical? Now, here's the thing. I've seen one on stage. Sidebar here. I saw one of the most hilariously terrifying performances of Evil Dead the Musical in New York. starring the brilliant Jenna Coker-Jones, who's like the freaking funniest, most amazing thing in like on stage I've ever seen. She's now in Los Angeles, like doing more on-screen kind of stuff. But is it possible to make a horror musical? I went to LA Horror Fest last year. Don't judge me. I saw 14 films in a row. Horror is my genre.
In a row? Jesus.
Yeah. Like I literally, well, I mean, like I bought the pass, like so I
Garrett
saw.
doesn't like horror movies at all.
No, I'm not a horror guy. Not.
Whatever, we're even. I don't give a fuck about Marvel. So anyway, so I saw 14 films, and I saw a great film. It's called The Dead Inside. It was produced by Drexel Box Films and written and directed by Travis Betts.
Oh, I've met him. He's a cool guy.
He is really awesome. I actually skipped the next film that I was going to see and like kind of stalked him at the bar to go up and be like, I think you're great.
He was at Big Island Film Festival last time we were there. Yeah, he's great.
Oh,
I
really?
really like him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is he a mushroom? Because he sounds like a fun guy.
What?
Sorry.
Oh,
I'm so
Lord.
sorry for what just happened.
Anyway, this film, The Dead Inside, it was adorable and it was slightly creepy. And you can get it on Amazon, by the way.
Actually.
You what?
I think I gave to that campaign. Actually.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure I did.
I saw like the film is adorable and it's great and it was engaging and fun, but like it's not like horror. You know what I mean? Like there's zombies, but you know what I mean? It's not like terrifying.
That's Travis's thing. I mean, his thing is like it's not horror. It's like horror but fun. It's almost like kids horror. You know, I mean. I don't think it's that far, but you know what I mean.
It's like it's campy, but it knows it's campy, and it's great. It's brilliant.
No, yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I don't know if there can be an actual horror film that is a musical, and this is why I think because horror is like everything that is. I mean, like one of the main things about horror is sound. I mean, you know, there's like the creepy otherworldly drone that kind of sound like it's underwater, like in The Ring, or like the you know the ever popular guttural phlegmy like zombie, you know what I mean, from like Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
But you can't have that like with a musical number. You know what I mean? Like the Exorcist, where it's just silent and then it's like, Wah! You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It scares the shit out of you. You can't do that if there's like a dun 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 dun, dun behind. So the question
I'm
is,
so tempted to say challenge accepted and write a horror movie.
Yeah, but I think that no, I completely agree with you because the thing about fear is very much based on what you don't know. It's very much based on anticipation, and musicals don't allow for that. There was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life was a horror musical movie. By what is the guy's Vincent D'Onofrio directed it, and it is so bad. It's like Glee horror movie. These guys, it's so freaking bad. I agree with you. I don't think it's so bad
that it's good because that's what I love about it. Okay.
Nope. No. Because it wasn't in any way campy. I think campy horror is fun, and I think that you can have a campy horror musical, but it will never be anything but camp, and that's fine. You know what I mean? I think you're right. I think that the two separate genres succeed for completely opposite reasons, and they can't really work together unless it is the camp style horror.
Wouldn't you almost say though? Here's my one thing, which is not a perfect example, but an example that I think could lead to a horror musical. Isn't Phantom of the Opera almost a horror story? It's kind of close. She's being stalked by this person with this mask, and yes, it turns into a love story. But there's no reason that you couldn't have that become frightening and terrifying. I don't know. I think
they already did that.
What?
I mean, they already did that. They already did the film of Phantom of the Opera.
Right, but they didn't make
Was it horror though? Is the question.
Right, they didn't make it a horror, but like that is a musical that's not. I mean, yes, they use the music for exposition, but it's not all like you know. I think I'm gonna fucking make a horror musical now, just to say
Garrett,
no. I will scare the crap out of you.
If you make a horror musical, I need to be running in my underwear through a graveyard screaming and bloody at some juncture.
No, because then it's a comedy.
Oh!
Come on, running through a graveyard in your underwear, bloody. That's Scary Movie. That's Tara Reid in Scary Movie.
Yeah.
And then you get stabbed in the chest. You know, it's like.
Just before you embark on anything like this, just watch the Vincent D'Onofrio. It's called "Don't Go in the Woods." By the way,
Oh!
so bad.
Yes,
Don't Go in the Woods, and I thought it was about
Best
pooping.
worst title.
I thought it was about pooping in the woods. It's not. It's not at all about pooping in the woods, although it is a turd.
Oh,
It is a big stinking turd.
All right.
All
We're
right.
gonna keep going. Anyway, so Garrett.
Yes, ma'am. All right, challenge accepted.
All right, good
Chad, let's hear from you to wrap us out.
Yes, my main topic is actually quite short. It is about the 2014 Collaboration Filmmakers Challenge, which is about to get started. In fact, the deadline for entries is today. You have to apply to be a participant. You have to go and apply today. Today's the last day. It's similar to a 48-hour film festival, but instead of having just 2 days, you get 2 weeks. And also, instead of having all these various different elements, like in the 48-hour film festival, they give you a character, they give you a line of dialogue, they give you a prop, and then you have to pull a genre out of a hat. So you're limited. Instead, the filmmakers, the CFC, if you want to call it that, you just get a theme quote. And I've done over half a dozen 48-hour film festivals. I mean, except for my pretty extensive acting training and experience, 48-hour films were basically my film school. So I have an understanding of 48-hour film festivals. I've stopped doing them entirely because I think the limitations, time, all of those elements, plus this genre, you end up making a pretty bad film overall. I mean, let's be fair. You can't take it anywhere else. For what it is, you can compete and it's fun and it's funny, etc. But you're never really going to make a very good film for taking out to other festivals. Whereas this, you get more time and they just give you the one thing. And then you're also working with other filmmakers as well. And on top of that, the price is really nice. It's only $35 if you want to be a what they call a filmmaker, which means you're supposed to submit a film at the end of it, or just to be a collaborator. It's only $20, so it's really, really cheap. I actually was kind of hoping I'd be able to do it, but unfortunately they start at midnight on, I guess it would be Tuesday night, Wednesday morning this week. So you have to get your submission in. You have to apply today with the $35 or $20, whichever one you want to do, and then you start this week, and so it's for 2 weeks. So unfortunately, I'm going to be way too busy over the next couple of weeks, so I can't do it. But if you're not busy, whoever you are out there listening or whatever, go do it, because it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, especially if you're watching this live. If you are not watching this live, you probably missed the application period, so there you have it. But go to collaborationchallenge.com if you're interested, and it looks like it's only their 3rd year, by the way, so even if you miss it this year, maybe you'll be ready to roll at 2015. So there you have it.
Huzzah! All right. Well, go check it out, people. I was so
that's
weird
it.
coming off a transition like that. All right, that is the show for the week. We end as always with things to know. My thing to know, self-plug. My new book, Rebel Yell, comes out in July or August, but you can pre-order it now. It's at my website. If you go there, you can't help but see it. GarrettBRobinson.com. That's my thing to know. Michelle.
I don't have anything to know other than you guys should get your asses to We Make Movies this Wednesday at
Seriously.
7:30 at Theater Asylum on Santa Monica and Vine. We'll be doing readings of 4 different things live. There's free food, there is wine, there is me, there is Garrett, there is Chad. It will be fun.
Yes, good times. I was just checking to see if you were right on 3, because it might be 4. Sometimes it is 4. 5. In fact, I think it's 5 this week.
Ooh.
Anyway, so
Bastards.
that. Yes, and then my thing to know is I'm actually going to be gone the following 2 Sundays. I'm first ADing a really fun shoot in the middle of nowhere on like a friggin' abandoned whatever, like airport strip, an airstrip in the middle of nowhere next weekend. And then the following weekend, I'll be at home in Hawaii on the Big Island. I'll probably be in the middle of my mom's birthday party at this time because they're a couple hours ahead. So I won't be here, but when I get back on May 31st, which is just under 3 weeks from now, which is Saturday, the 31st, March 31st. We're gonna be screening Tuesday morning, which is my most recent completed short film. I've got like 2 other short films in the hopper, but Tuesday morning is playing at Dances with Films, and I just output a 4K file, which they're going to be playing there, which is very, very exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah, which is huge. If you don't know what a 4K file is, it's going to look like a movie on the movie screen. The resolution is not high def. It's 4 times high def, basically. So anyway, or whatever. Some multiple more than regular high def. So I'm really excited to see it. We had a really, really good sound guy work. I mean, Kendall did the design, and it was great. And then we took it to a house to finish, get the final mix on it, and then a final really nice output. Big Joe's Sound, check them out. BigJoe'sSound.com, I think, Joe Ramos. But come, Dances with Films, March 31st, 12 p.m. Check out Tuesday morning in the short screen. May 31st. What did I say?
May 31st.
May 31st.
March.
Yeah.
May 31st.
You have to wait 10 months, people. Next year.
It's at Mann's 6 in Hollywood. So check it out. There you have it.
Woohoo!
Excellent. And with that,
What's
I will
up,
bring an
bitches?
end to this week's show. Thank you, everybody, for the people who chimed in and watched live. Remember, you can always leave comments, and we'll actually answer them on the air. I am Garrett Robinson. You can find me at garrettbrobinson.com. Chad is at superfreako.com, and Michelle can be found lurking in the hallways and online. At what?
At mlookadoo on Twitter.
At mlukadoo. There you go.
Tweet me, bitches.
We will see you next week, everybody. Goodbye.